Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Now I welcome you to a special edition of our series, Beyond the Storm, unveiling the spiritual forces at play. Now today we're going beyond the surface level to explore the spiritual dimensions of the hurricane crisis. For centuries, indigenous communities have honored the sacred balance between nature and humanity. But what happens when this harmony is disrupted? Well, a striking example comes from Tampa, Florida, where a sister shares her insight. 100 years without a hurricane until someone disturbs the Native American burial sites. Now, this profound observation highlights the consequences of disrespecting sacred lands and the ancestral reverence that once protected them. Now, in this video, my Black brothers and sisters will share their spiritual understanding of the hurricane's significance. So join me on this journey as we examine the interconnectedness of all living things, uncover hidden patterns shaping our world, and explore spiritual solutions to restore balance. Now, we will venture beyond the physical realm, seeking understanding and wisdom from diverse spiritual perspectives. So with that said, let's take a look at these different revelations as you share your thoughts as well. Don't forget to share how you feel you connect spiritually to natural disasters. So with that said, take a look at the videos. I will be right back.
I don't understand how people don't believe in spirituality when Tampa has not had a hurricane in over 100 years. And it always has been said because the Native Americans that were on this land protected this land. And now all of a sudden, when somebody decides to start digging on the burial sites and digging up dead bodies of the Native Americans, now all of a sudden Tampa has a direct Category 5 hurricane coming straight to the land. And I just, why y'all gotta do that? Y'all just can't let things live and be. Y'all gotta always just get into stuff and all that. Just relax, man.
Trigger warning, but all of these storms are not random. These intensifying hurricanes back to back to back, it's not random. In September, we stepped into a 3-month cycle of storms. Stay tuned until the end because I need to share the purpose though. In the middle of September, we started eclipse season with the lunar eclipse in Pisces. This eclipse was with Neptune, and Neptune rules over the oceans and also storms. This eclipse was also with Saturn, so let me just say karma began around this time. October the 2nd, we just had a solar eclipse in Libra, and this was conjunct Lilith, who also rules over wildness and storms. October 17th, we will have a full moon in Aries, and the ruler of this full moon is Mars, and Mars is in Cancer. Cancer rules over the moon, and the moon rules over the tides. November the 1st, new moon in Scorpio, with the ruler Pluto opposite of Mars in Cancer. We just talked about the moon, but Pluto deals with things out of your control. And lastly, in the middle of November, we will have a full moon in Taurus, conjunct Uranus. And Uranus is all about destabilization. Taurus is about the earth. But let's now talk energetics. In the Hermetic principles, there's a law called the law of correspondence, and it talks about the macrocosm mirrors the microcosm, meaning in life mirrors itself. So, a lot of storms on Earth means a lot of people are going through personal storms. Raise your hand if you're going through something that feels like a storm in your life. Wild winds and wild waters means there's an excess of air energy and water energy on Earth, meaning an excess in our mindset and our emotions. And just think about how your mindset and your emotions have been over the past couple of months. Storms and chaos are some of the most memorable and terrible times in our life, externally and internally. But looking back over the main challenging areas in my life, the most growth happened from there as well. Birth pains bring new life. Wildfires put nitrogen in the soil. Insane winds prune trees. I'm not discrediting the effects of global warming, but a lot of storms on Earth mean the people are waking up. I don't know y'all's ascension story, but mine started with storms. I hope that helps out, y'all. I'm praying for everyone during these tough times. Trust, a rainbow's coming after this storm.
Where's my spiritual gang? Watching everything that's going on in the universe, in the world, and everyone's freaking out. With everything that's going on, it's just entering into a new paradigm, into a new dimension. And so certain purges and changes and shifts need to happen on the physical plane. That's all it is. It's deep, but it's kind of not.
Hey y'all. I don't often comment on things like this because I don't like to contribute to fear mongering. But you see that Hurricane Milton going to Florida right now? It has dark, supernatural energy attached to it. Like anytime I see pictures of that cell, there is really dark, like I have chills as I'm saying this. There is really dark supernatural energy attached to that hurricane. Y'all don't mess about. There is something about this hurricane that seems to have this dark agenda. And it's like, I can't see it too clearly, but it's not only sent to destroy physically, there's something about that energy that's going to, I don't know if it's fuel more fear and darkness and strife than we've ever seen before, but something like that. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. If you need to evacuate, evacuate. And those of you who understand energy and work with energy, you really need to take some time to contribute to the shifting of that dark energy with this hurricane. I saw another TikToker, I'm going to see if I can mention her in the comments, who was putting out a post about coming together to pull energy into dissipating parts of the hurricane, dissipating or lowering the effect or the devastating effect that it will have. We've got to do something because that storm, it's like it has the physical aspects that's going to make it terrible, but it is covered in spiritual darkness. I've never seen anything like that. Then again, maybe I wasn't paying attention to a lot of the other devastating hurricanes, but this one for some reason really caught my eye.
Peace and love. I'm truly not being funny when I say this, but if you are in an evacuation zone in Florida and you are choosing not to leave because of whatever reason your belief system has you believing, whatever happens is on you. People are saying many reasons why they feel like they can't leave, work being one. I don't get it, but it's not my life, right? The great thing about life is that people can make conscious decisions about what they want to do with their life. However, Florida is being wiped out. That's just point blank, period. Now, for people that believe that the government, see what tickles me, right? People will say, oh, the government, but then say, oh, God is in control. Well, if God is in control, then that means that God is allowing these things to happen. Have you ever thought about that? Yeah. So also, the ancestors are here as well, right? So you have people like myself and many other individuals that have gotten on these social media platforms and have told you for months, years, however long people have been speaking on these topics that these things were going to happen. So we get that things are finally hitting the fan and it's in your face, and now you have to make a decision. But we're letting you know that decision that you want to make may be in your best interest to leave Florida. Just leave. Of course, I am sending positive vibrations for everyone's safety, but this is a spiritual war. Very spiritual. The spiritual warfare has been going on, and it's just going to continue to progress as we go into 2025. So if you're in the pathway of a spiritual warfare, this is not about you. It's not about you. This is about liberty. This is about the evolution of this planet. It's not about you. I do apologize to say it that way. So you may just want to get out of the way because that area, if you're being told to evacuate, is in the middle of a spiritual war. And what happens is beyond any of our control. Also the government.
Now, we live in a fallen world, and it's never more evident than when we view disasters, both physical and personal. We stand by helplessly and see cataclysmic forces of nature wreaking havoc. Personal disasters, illness, loss, heartbreak, for sure. We all face trials that test our resolve and faith. But how should Christians respond when disaster strikes? The Bible, the timeless beacon of our faith, gives us guidance. Now, this passage has always been one I'm not comfortable with. Rejoicing in sufferings. Really, it's in there though. Romans 5 verse 3 to 5 tells us not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts. Now, as Christians, our first response to personal disasters should be to stand firm in faith. But this isn't always easy. This faith doesn't deny the pain or the suffering we experience, but allows us to see beyond the immediacy of our circumstances, recognizing them as part of our earthly journey. Now, whenever such a hurricane of this magnitude hits populated areas, there is much resulting damage and lives are usually lost. And whenever this occurs, many people cry out asking, where is God in all of this? Now, as happened after 9/11, the attacks in New York City on the World Trade Center and hijacked airplanes crashing in Washington, D.C., the huge tsunami in Asia right after Christmas, and the TBs in London, we hear people being interviewed by the media who are wondering, how can Christians reconcile a God of love and mercy with such tragedies? Now, what answers in Genesis? Some explain this by saying that it's not God's fault when a massive tragedy occurs, but rather it is our fault. The Bible says we sinned in Adam, Genesis 3. In this fallen creation, we live in a world where God has given us just a taste of what life is like without God, when God no longer holds everything together perfectly. Because we sinned and thus committed high treason against the God of creation, we don't even deserve to exist. While our righteous God has to judge sin with unaliving and has withdrawn some of his sustaining power in his creation, he has provided a way of salvation for man. The creator of the universe stepped into history 2,000 years ago as a man, the God-man, to pay the penalty for our sin and offer us a free gift of salvation. What a God of love. Now, spirituality has been part of human life since birth to unaliving. Modern medicine in recent decades has shown a relationship between the body and the mind, and the incidence of diseases is not simply limited to the function of the physical body. Many studies have confirmed the significant relationship between spirituality and the level of human health. Spiritual health is the new and the fourth dimension of human health, which has been approved by the World Health Organization. Now, facing with disasters, especially natural disasters, imposes pressure on the affected people and causes severe psychological and spiritual complications. When disasters occur, humans seek to understand the reality of disasters and try to manage them by the power of spirituality. Disruption in the spiritual beliefs of people affected by natural disasters and understanding a disaster as God's punishment, as well as the feeling of being rejected by God, reduces their level of spiritual health, which can cause mental disorders and increases suicide attempts among affected people. Let's take a look at Hurricane Katrina, for example. After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, which left 1,800 unalived and 370,000 homeless, many affected people turned to religion and spirituality as a tool in order to cope with the psychological effects of the storm. Affected people by disasters may seek religious acts such as prayer and called it seeking spiritual support. Now, as we navigate the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, profound conversations have emerged. A sister's words resonated deeply. Tampa went 100 years without a hurricane until someone disturbed the Native American burial sites. Now, her statement speaks to a deeper truth. For many, this disaster is more than just a natural event. It's a spiritual awakening. Some see it as a manifestation of disrupted harmony between humanity and nature. The desecration of sacred lands, disregard for ancestral reverence, and disconnection from the natural world have consequences. Now, this sister's insight aligns with ancient wisdom. Our actions have ripple effects. Disturbing sacred sites can unleash energetic imbalances, perpetuating chaos in the physical realm. Now, others echo this perspective. We've forgotten our place within the web of life. Our disconnection from nature fuels these disasters, and we must honor the land and its original stewards. Now, this spiritual framework encourages us to re-evaluate our relationship with the environment and each other. It's not just about climate change or government policy. It's about respecting the sacred. We have finally come to the end of the video, but talking about understanding the hurricane spiritually. What is your understanding of what is happening? Share your thoughts, your views on what you think about this in the comment section, and let's have a conversation there. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video as I bring you another video.